A late Rodri winner helps Manchester City past Sheffield United as Erling Haaland misses a penalty and a couple other chances as well. Jules, too close to comfort without Pep Guardiola?
Yeah, maybe. It was strange to not see him on the bench, of course, with that back injury that he has. And maybe it's a reason why they were a bit slow at times. They created loads of chances. They could easily have been 3-0 up after an hour. They were not, though. And the goal, we talked about mistakes before, the Harvey Barnes mistake, the Trent mistake, the Van Dijk mistake, the Saka mistake. The Kyle Walker mistake in this game is just out of this world. How can you think it's a good idea to try a back heel in your own box in the 85th minute when you just 1-0 up away at Sheffield United and they are actually for once attacking? It's beyond me.
I thought even worse than the back heel is, so he does the back heel, he ends up sliding off the pitch, and then he just stays down. And he watches the rest of the ball remains
it's
in
embarrassing.
Play. He watches. You don't expect this from somebody his
It's
age. I think
really
he realized
bad.
it. I don't think we're going to see this from him again.
That's embarrassing.
Tottenham are 2-0 win 2-0 away to Bournemouth, and Spurs fans sing, "We've got our Tottenham back." Jules, you're on board with Ange-ball, right?
Yeah, of course, we both are, Gabby, I think. I mean, again, they will be tougher test than Bournemouth away. But Maddison was really good. They were really good defensively too. I like what I see, and I think it's very positive for them. But Chelsea beat Luton 3-0, the first win for Pochettino. Gab, you were there. Did you enjoy the Raheem Sterling show or the Malo Gusto show? Which one do you prefer?
It was a Raheem Sterling show. I enjoyed his goal. He looks way up for it.
The
Looks
first
very
one
sharp.
was great.
Nico Jackson also looking good. Collectively, I think Chelsea still some things to review. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but just 1-0 at halftime against the Luton team, who I appreciate what Rob Edwards is trying to do. They tried to stick to the principles that got them up, playing out from them back and so on. But these guys are terrible.
Yeah, they're bad.
Ross Barkley was the most technically gifted Luton player, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
No, he was.
By a million miles,
Yeah.
and this is Ross Barkley, who's not particularly good anymore. They're just completely overmatched. And you know what? I think at some point, I know it's a great fairy tale, Luton coming up. I hope they find a way to work their magic. Other teams have done it. But player for player, pound for pound, there is such an evident gap, not just with them and the other teams in the Premier League, but the other promoted sides too, because I haven't watched Burnley and Sheffield United in person, but I've seen them play on television. And while they're not particularly good, they have far better players. So I think it's going to be tough.
Long season for them. Yeah, definitely. Aston Villa win 3-1 at Burnley, but on their way home, their team bus is hit by a brick. Gab, is this a one-off or a trend back from the bad old days?
I hope it's a one-off and this doesn't happen again. I mean, we've seen recent years, we've seen pitch invasions and so on. They've done a great job at cutting down on violence and hooliganism in this country over the past 20-odd years. And also a lot of it, hooliganism away from the stadiums, which used to be a really big problem. I mean, you remember how much fun it was at King's Cross in the 1980s. You hear all those stories,
I can imagine,
That said, let's hope it's just some moron deciding to be a moron and nothing more than that. Yeah. Davy Moyes and West Ham win 3-1 away to Roberto De Zerbi's Brighton. Yeah. Jules, are you impressed?
No.
Because it's Davy Moyes, you're just telling me it's a smash and grab and De Zerbi's a genius.
It's not that. It's just old school West Ham, what Moyes does, play on the counter, 5% possession. Okay, it's a bit more than 5%. And good. This is how you beat Brighton. This is what you would do against City, against Arsenal, the really high defensive line you exploit. I took a lot of pleasure watching Benrahma's ball for Bowen's first touch and finish. I think that was exceptional.
Thank you.
That was exceptional. And I go back to my point. When you have Bowen, Benrahma, Paqueta in your team, you should be playing much better football than what West Ham do. But in this time, they got it right. Fair play. Credit to Moyes. Credit to the players. This was the way to play against them. Even if without an amazing Alphonse Areola, Paris born and bred, of course, they would not have won that game. They would have drawn it 3-3 or maybe lost it 4-3. But Areola saved them many, many, many times. And in the end, they won. I don't like this way of football, but hey, it worked. So good for them.
You won a World Cup playing like this?
Not really.
Right.
But anyway. Gab, the Premier League is cracking down on time wasting in an effort to improve ball in play time. And you've seen some early data on this.
Yes.
You love this kind of
stuff. Me and everybody who watched Match of the Day last night. So ball and play time, when mind you, the target is 60 minutes. Last year was an average of 54 minutes and 52 seconds. This year, so far, through 3 games, 58 minutes and 54 seconds, right? So they've gained 4 minutes of actual football.
If you add 20 minutes of added time every
but
half.
here's the thing. The time added on has increased by less than 3 minutes. So to me, this at least proves that if you add time at the end, you do cut down on time wasting. Because otherwise it would have increased by the amount of time that it was added on, right? So this to me shows that Howard Webb's idea, at least so far,
there's
works.
not much though. There's a minute difference.
But it's a huge. It makes a big difference. It takes you closer. And look, I know the age-old issue has more to do with style of play and so on. The age-old issue is that some teams where the ball never goes out of play and they play it on the ground might have 63, 64 minutes, and other teams where they just launch it and foul each other, then it could be 47 minutes. Nothing you can do about that. But I think you are moving in the right direction, and I think this is going to give them confidence to persevere.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.